I'm Bob Vila. Welcome to the show. Once again in Punta Gorda, Florida, where we're almost finished building our storm-ready house. And today we're spending a lot of our time with our swimming pool, showing you all the details of how the pool is built, not to mention how you heat it, how you treat it, and how you make it safe. Also, the boys in the background are getting ready to install what they call our pool cage. Stick around, there's lots to show you. Okay, our swimming pool is nearly finished, and boy, would I love to jump into it, but Perry Hickox is with us.
Nice to meet you.
And your company builds these pool cages, they call them, right?
That's right.
Is there a more formal name for them?
Well, you call them screen enclosures, but most commonly they're called pool cages.
And one of the key things, any place that you got a swimming pool, is safety and keeping youngsters away from the pool where there might be a tragic accident. Now, the code requires either one of these pool cages, or what are some of the other
You can have a fence around a pool to protect it,
yeah.
But the pool cage also serves as a fence to keep anyone from accidentally walking into the pool and drowning.
Exactly, and here are two wandering men with a whole section of it. Now,
this is the first section of our roof that we'll be putting up. We've already done some preliminary work here.
Now, it's not heavy, it's made of aluminum, and how sturdy are these things when you have a hurricane blowing?
Pretty sturdy. They're made to 130-mile-an-hour wind loads.
Is that right?
They're all engineered so that no matter what size they are, there's compensations made so that they withstand 130-mile-an-hour wind load.
Is it an extra heavy extrusion of aluminum?
They're all custom made for this industry.
Okay, now how do you design it? Do you have a plan or a layout of the thing?
We make a plan. We draw a blueprint of the actual area, which I don't have in my pocket right now. The guys have it.
Yeah.
And that decides the spacing of the beams for us according to the engineering.
And that's all pre-cut at the factory, right?
That is correct.
Now this is cool to watch. So they're just bringing in these pieces.
They bring in the wall section and the roof section and attach them together, and they'll come down here and they'll take that first section and attach it to the structural gutter.
Okay, so the structural gutter has already been put in place up there, and we can see it.
The structural gutter's been put up, and we've also put in our beam clips where we'll be attaching the beams.
Well, let's get out of the way and watch how they get this other section up where it belongs. Boy, that's amazing that just two guys can erect one of these things without any kind of assistance from a little crane or anything like that.
Two guys that get used to working together, get their own system going and become very efficient at it.
Yeah. And so they've already positioned these, what do you call these, brackets or braces that are up there?
Yeah, they're receiving channels with extra heavy reinforcing angles on the outside.
Okay. Now, when you do have a storm, is the screening meant to just blow away?
No, the screening stays in.
It is?
Once the screening is put into these extrusions, it holds very strong.
It does. So generally when you have failure, it's because something blows into it. It's like
well,
a
oftentimes you do, but if the wind gets to be so strong that the structure can't withhold it anymore, generally they implode into the pool area.
Gotcha. All right, so you bring in a wall section and you raise a roof section up to meet it. There's not much weight involved to all of this, is there?
Not with aluminum construction. The structure gets its strength partially from the shapes of the metals themselves.
From the shapes that are...
The design of the beams.
Yeah, I can understand that. But what about all the fasteners and stuff? You've got some of these here to show us.
Well, we've got different fasteners. These tapcons here are used to fasten the cage down to the concrete.
Yeah.
And at critical points where the load-bearing columns attach to the concrete, there's larger ones.
And then what are these straps here for?
These are gusset plates that go on the top of the column that attach the beam to the column itself.
Okay, and then how do you use the steel cables?
These cables, once the cage is almost done, this will be put in the corner of where a beam and the roof comes together. And this 3/16" cable is stretched down and tightened to give it a rigid structure.
Sure, I understand. Boy, look at them behind you. They're amazing. All right, so this is the most complicated of the panel. This is kind of a hip form. Is that why you haven't put the screen on?
Yes, we wanted to make sure it was going to be a good fit before we screened it.
You're just leaving me holding this here, huh?
Can I get that from you?
All right,
Thanks.
Barry, thanks a lot. We're going to take a closer look at this later on in the show.
Okay, very good. We'll get her finished up.
Bob Reeves is with us from Blue Haven Pools and the Naples division, I guess, and you guys have done a wonderful job of getting all of this installed in a hurry for us.
Thank you.
But the key things that we want to learn about, what's state-of-the-art pool equipment from the point of view of filtering and keeping it clean? What have you got here?
Well, this is a 450 square foot microband filter. It not only has more elements in it to filter out and keep the water more clear, but it has microband. It gives us protection from antifungal and anti-mold spores getting into the pool system.
So this is essentially one of these paper filters?
Yes, it is a cartridge filter. There's 4 cartridges in here.
Okay.
All right, and most other filters only have 1.
Okay.
The cleaning cycle is much more elongated. You clean it out once or twice a year rather than do it on a monthly basis.
Do these filters have a long life?
Yes, they do. As long as you take care of them, it's like anything else. If you take care of them, you treat them properly, they can last you up to 5 years.
Excellent. And then what else are we looking at?
Well, we go down here to from the filtration system. You have the sanitation part of the swimming pool. All right, inside this filter is a Nature 2 sanitation device. It's a copper-silver device that requires very little chlorine to activate. It's 80% free of chlorine.
That's good news.
That's perfect news. A lot of people have aversions to chlorine.
Sure, yeah.
There is an inline chlorinator here for the trace amounts of chlorine it needs to activate the copper and silver in the Nature 2 sanitation device.
So what's the buzzword in terms of this type of system?
Almost chlorine-free, virtually chlorine-free.
What are the enemies of the water, if you will?
Bacteria and germs.
Bacteria and germs.
This kills the bacteria and the germs. Once they're killed, they become a solid.
Yeah.
Okay, when the solid's there, you get cloudy water. This takes care of that by oxidizing those solids by using O3, which is ozone.
Yes.
It's almost totally chemically free. It reduces not only the chemicals going into the pool, but further reduces the chlorine level in the pool.
Fabulous. And then, here it is, kind of the end of summer in Florida, every day's in the 90s, but sooner or later when the snowbirds come down, it actually cools down a little bit in Florida. How do we control the temperatures in the pool? How do we make it comfortable in December and January?
Well, here we have the heat pump. It's a Jandy heat pump, all right? It's a 100,000 BTU heat pump with titanium heat exchangers in it. It's made to last a long time because people here in Florida do use their pools, okay, an extended period of time over the rest of the country.
And what about economy of operation?
They're all about basically the same. It does cost money, obviously, with electric.
Right.
We're fortunate here in Florida that some of our electrical energy costs are not as high as other parts of the country.
That's for sure.
But it's one of the most efficient units available on the market for residential pools.
Great. And now the pool is a beautiful shape and it's a beautiful depth and it's just one of the prettiest pools I've ever seen. But what about at night? Do we have any special kind of lighting?
Yes, we do. And this pool here is it's a Hayward ColorLogic LED lighting system. It changes 5 different colors, and you can stop it on a color or change them automatically. And it has light shows. It has 7 different light shows. voodoo magic, 4th of July, that people can switch on these light shows, and there's about 1,500 different lights going off at the same time.
Unbelievable. Bob, great job. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
It's a real nice pool.
Thank you.
That is one nifty tool. We're drilling holes in our pool deck for one very important reason, and Bill Jasper is here from the Baby Barrier Pool Fence Company to explain what this is all about. But let's come over here, because we have such a beautiful pool, and we have a beautiful pool cage, as they call them, the lanai. But one of the key things that we have to worry about is protecting this pool from child victims.
Yes, Bob. The leading cause of death for children under 5 is drowning in their backyard swimming pool. Not in the Atlantic Ocean, not in the Pacific, in the backyard swimming pool.
And having a pool cover is not necessarily the solution, is it?
No, sir. No, sir. Primarily, a pool cover is for debris.
Yeah, to keep
not
the
for
pool
children.
clean.
Not for children.
But
they
not
can
to keep the
slide in
pool
on the
safe.
side,
Yeah.
and they also can walk down in or crawl down into the center, which will gather water.
So
drown in inches.
You and your company addressed this issue a long time ago. When did you start making these?
1963. The company was started right here in Punta Gorda.
Okay. And it's essentially the simplest concept in the world. But let's look closely at how it's fabricated. I mean, obviously, these verticals go into the holes that we were just drilling.
We use the strongest pole in the industry. They're 0.65 as far as the width.
The pole?
The pole itself.
What is it made out of?
Aluminum.
Okay.
It also has a 7-inch insert in the bottom for extra strength.
A steel insert?
A steel insert.
Okay.
And in the state of Florida, the requirement is at 36 inches off the deck, which is approximately here, Bob.
Right.
It must withstand 53 pounds of pressure.
Of pressure against it.
Our poles will withstand 80 pounds of pressure.
Yeah.
So we're well over the code of the state of Florida.
And these hooks are not just ordinary hooks.
No, they're safety hook and eyes.
Right.
In other words, it makes it virtually impossible for the child. They, number one, have to be up this high because they're on this far off the deck.
Yeah.
But they've got to pull on here on this latch and lift up at the same time.
In order for it to
which
open.
a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old can't do that.
Simply cannot. Yeah. And then what about the actual mesh here that we're looking at?
The mesh is a PVC coated mesh, which also has to withstand certain restraints from the standpoint of tensile strength, tear strength. Once you have a hole in this, it can't rip out, you know. And it's a PVC coated mesh.
Okay.
The strongest and the best in the industry.
And so what we're doing here in terms of our installation is following the contour of the pool, right?
That's correct. David is installing the fence, and one of the great things about our fence, it is temporary. If you want to have an adult party, the kids are at someone else's home, you can remove this or install it in a matter of minutes.
Yeah. And in Florida, many of the situations are grandparents.
Absolutely.
Who just have toddlers visiting for
They
holiday
do.
weekends
They
or
do.
whatever. So this is something that can be put up and taken down as needed. You need a hand with that?
Doing okay here.
Okay, that's so simple. Now, but what about the cost of this particular job?
It would range because we have 4 different kinds of meshes. But it would range, and here in Florida, we normally only have 50 to 60 feet of mesh, whereas in Boston or New York, we'll have 100 foot, which is the average pool going around because we don't have these cages up north. Typically, the price to the customer will be somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000.
Okay.
Installed, completely installed, with a 10-year warranty on our product.
Another option for making your home storm ready is, well, Ted Gower is going to tell us about it. It's called Armor Screen.
It's called Armor Screen, yes. It's hurricane protection. It's designed to stop wind, rain, all the debris.
It's just a fabric.
It's a very strong fabric. It's a geosynthetic textile. that's designed to take serious abuse.
But if you got 100-mile-an-hour wind coming at you, isn't this just going to blow?
No, it's not. 100-mile-an-hour wind would allow a little tiny breeze to come through, actually 3 mile an hour to come through.
It can reduce 100-mile-an-hour wind to 3 miles an hour on the other side?
That's correct. And if rain hits it, the surface tension sheets it up solid, so the wind stops completely.
Really?
It's terrific.
So it's not just a product to be used in a lanai like we're doing here.
No, it can be on doors, windows, wherever you want to do it. The application on the lanai turns this lanai into a hurricane shelter in the event of a storm.
Wow. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 openings.
Yes.
And how do you secure them? How do you attach them?
We have bolts and clips at the top, and at the side we have a clip.
So you can double snap it and then you batten it down like that.
The reason for back through like this is there's tremendous battering from the wind, and if that final locking thing stops it from moving.
All right, you can also tie it down through a regular eye bolt.
An eye bolt is a different method of fastening.
Yeah, and then down on the ground you've got eye bolts, but when you're not using it, the eye bolts come out and you just plug it?
We have sidewalk bolts that we put in, yes.
Okay. Now, this is very interesting as an alternative to plywood, right?
Yes, it's an alternative to absolutely any other kind of hurricane protection.
Yeah, because here we're looking at it in an unusual situation in the lanai, but so many people have older Florida homes with little 3 by 5 foot windows that they have to go out in a hurry and get plywood up, and a lot of people can't do that.
If you put this over any other part of the house is hurricane rated. For all of Florida, with the exception of Miami-Dade, which is a little different standard.
Okay. What about the cost, though? It looks expensive.
Just slightly under $200 for a 3 by 5 window.
So you're approximating, but a couple $100 for an average size window.
That sounds good, yes.
It's a great alternative. Thanks a lot, Ted.
Thank you, Bob.
And the lanai is 99% completed, and it's hard to believe that it started out with all those pieces on the ground and it so quickly comes together. One thing that we haven't seen is the additional cross bracing that's done on each one of these panels with stainless steel screws and aluminum gussets that are riveted on up there at the top. But let's check in with Eric over here, who is doing one of the finishing touches. Eric, do you always have to do the screens for the doors out in the field?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We bring the doors out separately. We hang them all. It's one of the last things we do. Mm-hmm. And just to make sure that the door hangs right.
And there's a lot of viewers who have to redo this on a kind of regular basis. So what are some tips?
Tips, basically, keeping the screen square is about the most important aspect of it. If you really physically look at the screen, there are little squares to them, and keeping them square with the metal is everything.
Yeah, so, and then getting a piece that's got enough selfage so that you've got room to work in. Let's watch you do it.
Okay.
The splining tool is the key, and you've got one that's a combination utility knife
and roller.
And roller.
Yep.
And so keep it square.
Keep it square and tight, and as long as you're straight, you shouldn't have any bubbles to your screen. And when you don't have any bubbles, that means your screen is tight, which means the wind will not pull it out as easily.
Thanks, Eric. Nice job. We're out of time. I'm Bob Vila. Thanks for joining us.